to RANsquawk's morning briefing for Wednesday the 12th of August 2009. Just came out to 9 o'clock now, so taking a quick check round the markets, and we're off to a bit of a negative start with equities in Europe following the losses that we're seeing in Asia. We did see the Nikkei finish down 1.4%, turning off its 10-month closing high we saw yesterday, with the Shanghai Composite and other Asian bourses, the Shanghai in particular, finishing down just over 4%. That followed the negative close on Wall Street as well, where the Dow, Nasdaq 100 and SPOOs closed down around 1% margin. Again, seemingly at the moment the markets, after consecutive weeks of a pretty good run-up on the upside, getting a bit of a downward momentum. In yesterday's session it began with some negative news creeping in, the likes of CIT Group taking centre stage as they continue to grab headlines in their future, whether they'll proceed into filing for bankruptcy. Then also that report we saw out of the Congressional Oversight Panel, which did question whether small banks in the US would require any more capital. So that has fed through in Asia and into the European morning. FTSE CAC and DAX down around 0.5% at the moment, and that risk-adverse trade is helping underpin as well in fixed income. Bunds up around 40 ticks or so, with T-notes also higher, and we're seeing a stronger dollar index and stronger yen at the moment in the currencies. Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar also trading weaker across the board, and in particular the pound coming under some pressure ahead of the quarterly inflation report, already below 164. Taking a look then, just a couple of overnight pieces to be aware of. Bank of Japan Shirakawa said it will take some time for economy to return to a sustainable growth path. The Bank of Japan said economy stopped worsening and kept their assessment unchanged in terms of their monthly reports. And also from the FT, something that's getting continued attention in China. China's surging economy slowed slightly in July as state-controlled banks heeded Beijing's instructions to rein in excessive lending, with the volume of new lending falling 77% from a month earlier. Elsewhere, out of Europe, ECB's Liikanen said the financial crisis is not completely over, even though the situation has improved. Liikanen said the second half to show where the Eurozone economy has bottomed. Taking a look then in the UK markets, obviously that quarterly inflation report, we'll see that released at 10:30. That's going to be the real highlight of the morning. The Telegraph reported the Bank of England set to strike a cautious note as markets await inflation report. Most analysts are expecting the Bank of England general tone to be rather downbeat. We are expecting them to cut their growth forecasts and say their inflation will remain at low levels for the next 2 to 3 years. Most of the attention though is going to be on any discussions or any future path indications they may give to that surprise announcement we saw of the extension of the QE programme by 50 billion to 175 announced last week. Again, as mentioned, cable, we're already at 2 weeks lows, printing below 164 this morning. Looking elsewhere in the equity markets, we are seeing Switzerland's stock market, the SMY, underperforming their European counterparts, in particular Nestle, the largest constituent. They're down 4.5%. That was after they reported first half net attributable profit, although beat expectations at 5.07 billion Swiss francs. It was their first half organic growth which came in below expectations at 3.5%. They're down around 4.5%. Looking ahead then, at the top of the hour, we'll look out for the IEA publishing their monthly oil reports, and then we'll have UK numbers at 9:30, where we'll eye the claimant and jobless claims change, as well as the ILO unemployment rates. 10 o'clock sees Eurozone industrial production. 10:30, the Bank of England quarterly inflation report. Midday, we'll have the NBA mortgage acts in the US, followed by trade balance at 1:30, then the oil inventory levels at 3:30. Focus then moves on to the FOMC rate decision. That'll be at 7:15. Many analysts anticipating whether or not the Fed will indicate any exit strategy, and also with their QE program coming to an end in regards to the schedule of purchases in September, whether they will indeed follow or not the Bank of England's path that was set out last week. Other than that, supply-wise, we're eyeing a Bund auction, 6 billion euros worth from Germany at 10 o'clock, allied to 1 billion euros worth out of Portugal at 10:30. We'll see a reverse auction, the final of the 3 for the week from the Bank of England. Usual time results 2:45 to 3 o'clock. And then we'll have the second auction following a pretty decent demand in the 3-year note. We'll have the 10-year $23 billion worth, and then 6 o'clock London time.